Disclaimer. This video presents tactical and strategic analysis based on real military capabilities and publicly available information. Some elements present hypothetical scenarios for educational and entertainment purposes. March 4th, 2026, 8:47 a.m. The Strait of Hormuz. USS John Finn, an Arleigh Burke-class destroyer, cuts through the world's most strategically critical waterway. Crew at normal watch. Radars scanning. Systems nominal. 329 sailors going about their morning. Then, in one single instant, everything on the radar screen changes. Not 10 contacts, not 20, 150. From hidden positions along the Iranian coastline, fast attack boats pour into the strait simultaneously. Small, fast, deadly. Each one loaded with anti-ship missiles, torpedoes, and enough firepower to put holes in a destroyer. Above them, 30 Iranian kamikaze drones swarm toward the ship at 500 feet. Iran's plan is mathematically brutal. An Arleigh Burke destroyer is one of the most powerful warships ever built, but it has limits. 90 vertical launch cells, 3 phalanx CWIS mounts, advanced radar and fire control. Powerful, but not infinite. 180 simultaneous threats from 3 directions simultaneously was designed to exceed those limits. USS John Finn is alone, outnumbered 180 to 1. The Iranian commanders watching from the coastline believe they are watching the final minutes of an American warship. What they do not know is that 30,000 feet above the Persian Gulf, 2 massive aircraft are already diving toward the strait at Mach 1.2. Not stealth bombers, not fighter jets. 2 Cold War-era B-1B Lancers, each one carrying a weapon that Iran has never seen used in naval combat. In exactly 12 minutes, Iran's largest coordinated naval attack in decades.
To understand March 4th, you need to understand March 1st. 3 days earlier, American B-2 Spirit stealth bombers had struck deep inside Iranian territory. Underground missile facilities that Iran had spent billions of dollars and decades building were destroyed in a single night. Bunker-busting munitions collapsed tunnels. Command centers were obliterated. Iran's ballistic missile program was set back by years in a matter of hours. The strike was surgical. It was devastating. It was humiliating. Iran's supreme leadership demanded immediate and visible retaliation. The target had to be American. The method had to be dramatic. The result had to send a message. They chose USS John Finn specifically. The destroyer was on solo patrol, separated from its carrier strike group by 40 miles, isolated, apparently vulnerable, the kind of target that Iran's swarm tactics were designed to overwhelm and destroy.
For decades, Iran recognized a fundamental strategic reality. They cannot fight the United States Navy in a conventional engagement and win. Not ship to ship, not aircraft to aircraft, not weapon system to weapon system. So they developed a different doctrine. Asymmetric warfare, swarm tactics, saturation attack. The theory is mathematically elegant. A single Arleigh Burke destroyer is extraordinarily capable. Its Aegis combat system can simultaneously track over 100 targets. Its 90-cell vertical launch system can fire missiles faster than most threats can close the distance. But it cannot engage 180 targets simultaneously from 3 directions. If Iran launches enough small, cheap, fast platforms at once, the mathematics eventually overwhelm the defensive system. Even if 50% are destroyed, the other 50% get through and fire their weapons. On paper, it works. The Iranian force assembled for March 4th was the largest execution of this doctrine in history. 150 fast attack boats, Pasdaran-class and Siraj-class speedboats. Speed, 50-plus miles per hour, each armed with anti-ship missiles, torpedoes, and heavy machine guns. Crewed by 2,400-plus Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps Navy personnel, selected and trained for exactly this mission. 30 Shahad 136 kamikaze drones, GPS-guided, explosive warheads, flying at 500 feet to saturate the destroyer's close-in defense systems while the boats close the distance. The plan?
launch simultaneously from hidden coastal positions, swarm from 3 directions at once, overwhelm the Aegis system with pure numbers, fire missiles at close range before the destroyer can engage them all, sink the destroyer, close the strait, declare victory. For the first 4 minutes of the engagement, it looked like it was going to work.
Section 3. The B-1B Lancer. Before we get to 8:51 a.m., you need to understand the aircraft that Iran never saw coming. The B-1B Lancer entered operational service in 1986. It was designed during the Cold War for a specific mission: penetrate Soviet air defenses at low altitude and supersonic speed to deliver nuclear weapons. That war never came. But the B-1B stayed, and over 4 decades it evolved into something its designers never fully anticipated: the most devastating conventional strike platform in the American military inventory. Specifications that matter: length, 146 feet. Maximum speed, Mach 1.25 at altitude, supersonic at sea level. Maximum payload, 75,000 pounds, 34 tons of munitions in 3 internal bomb bays. The largest weapons payload of any aircraft in American service. Iran dismissed the B-1B as a Cold War relic. No stealth, large radar cross-section, designed for a war that never happened. What Iran missed was what the B-1B actually is. Not a stealth aircraft, a payload aircraft. An aircraft that can carry enough munitions to engage an entire naval swarm simultaneously and deliver them faster than any other bomber in the world. On March 4th, 2 B-1Bs were on routine patrol over the Arabian Sea. Call signs: Bone 1 and Bone 2. Weapons load: 84 CBU-105 sensor-fused weapons per aircraft. 168 total. Section 4. The weapon Iran never saw. The CBU-105 sensor-fused weapon is not a conventional bomb. It is an autonomous hunter-killer system. A weapon that finds its own targets, identifies them independently, and destroys them with precision that no human operator could match at the speed required. Here is exactly how it works. The B-1B releases the CBU-105 canister from altitude. The canister falls. At a calculated height, it opens. 10 BLU-108 submunitions deploy on small parachutes and begin descending over the target area. Each BLU-108 then releases 4 individual Skeet sensor units on their own parachutes. One CBU-105 canister becomes 40 individual autonomous hunter-killer munitions. As each Skeet descends and spins on its parachute, it is running 2 independent sensor systems simultaneously. An infrared sensor detecting heat signatures below. A laser radar mapping the shapes of objects on the water. A computer processor cross-references both inputs and identifies valid military targets by their heat signature and physical profile. Engine heat, metal hull, moving at speed across water. When a Skeet identifies a valid target, it fires an explosively formed penetrator, a slug of molten copper accelerated to hypersonic speed that punches. 8:47 a.m. USS John Finn's Combat Information Center erupts. Captain, we have multiple surface contacts emerging from Iranian territorial waters. Count is 150, small craft, speed 50 knots, range 8 miles, closing fast. Air contacts, 30 inbound drones, altitude 500 feet. General quarters, all hands to battle stations. The Phalanx CWAS mounts spin to life at 4,500 rounds per minute. The incoming kamikaze drones begin exploding in orange fireballs against the morning sky. But the boats keep coming. 150 speedboats in a coordinated swarm, approaching simultaneously from 3 separate directions. The destroyer fires SM-2 missiles at the nearest clusters. Explosions erupt across the water. 5 boats destroyed. 10 boats destroyed. Not enough. The mathematics of saturation attack are working exactly as Iranian planners designed. The destroyer cannot engage 150 targets fast enough. For every boat that explodes, 2 more are still closing the distance.
On the bridge of the lead Iranian attack boat, the commander watches USS John Finn struggle with the engagement geometry. 2 minutes until his boats are in missile range. The destroyer will be overwhelmed. Victory is seconds away. Then he hears something. A sound he has never heard before in his life. A low rumbling from the west, growing louder. Not a fighter jet, not a missile. Something much larger.
8:54 a.m. The CBU-105 canisters split open at 5,000 feet. From each canister, 10 BLU-108 submunitions deploy. Small white parachutes blossom open across the sky above the Strait. 1,680 submunitions descending simultaneously. Then, each BLU-108 releases its 4 skeet sensor units. 6,720 autonomous hunter-killers begin their descent. They spin on their parachutes, infrared sensors scanning the water below, laser radars mapping every object on the surface, computer processors running target identification algorithms thousands of times per second. Below them, 150 Iranian speedboats racing at 50 miles per hour, engines roaring at maximum power, generating massive thermal signatures that the skeet sensors read like beacons in the dark. Target lock. Target lock. Target lock. Thousands of times per second across the entire swarm. 8:54:45 a.m. The first skeet fires its explosively formed penetrator. A slug of molten copper accelerates to hypersonic speed and punches straight down through the engine compartment of Section 7. The numbers. Total mission time from the moment Iranian boats left their coastal positions to the moment the last skeet fired its final round, 12 minutes. Battle damage assessment. Iranian fast attack boats destroyed, 150, 100%. Iranian kamikaze drones shot down, 30, 100%. Iranian personnel casualties, 2,400 plus. Status unknown. Many recovered from the water. American casualties, 0. American ship damage, 0. Weapons expended. 168 CBU-105 sensor-fused weapons. 6,720 skeet submunitions deployed. Approximately 150 to 200 skeets successfully engaged boat targets. Total American munitions cost, approximately $25 million. Iran's investment in the swarm? Years of development, months of planning, 2,400 trained personnel, 150 vessels, 30 drones. Gone in 45 seconds. Section 8. The Miscalculation. Iran's strategic calculation on March 4th contained one fundamental error that rendered their entire doctrine obsolete in a single engagement. They planned for the weapons America would use against ships. They did not plan for the weapons America would use against swarms. The B-1B Lancer was dismissed by Iranian military planners as a Cold War relic. No stealth, large radar signature, designed for a nuclear war that never came. What Iran's planners failed to account for was the B-1B's defining characteristic. March 4th, 2026. Iran assembled their largest coordinated naval attack in decades. 150 fast attack boats, 30 kamikaze drones, 2,400 trained personnel. Years of asymmetric warfare doctrine executed at maximum scale. For 4 minutes, the mathematics of saturation attack were working. USS John Finn was struggling with the engagement geometry. The phalanx mounts were firing continuously. SM-2 missiles were destroying boats faster than any ship had ever engaged surface targets before. And it still was not fast enough. Then 2 Cold War bombers appeared overhead. 12 minutes later, Iran's swarm was not defeated. It was not damaged. It was vaporized. Because Iran learned the lesson that every American adversary eventually learns. When you build a weapon designed to overwhelm American defensive systems through numbers, America does not build a better defensive system.
America builds a weapon that makes your numbers irrelevant. 6,720 autonomous hunter-killers that rain from the sky, find your engines with infrared precision, and turn a 150-boat swarm into a debris field in 45 seconds. The B-1 B-Lancer, designed in the 1970s to fight a war that never came. Still flying, still carrying more weapons than any aircraft on Earth. Still proving that in modern warfare, payload is power. And somewhere over the Arabian Sea right now, Bone 1 and Bone 2 are still on patrol, waiting. Subscribe now and turn on notifications, because the next engagement is already being planned, and you will not want to miss what comes next.